So the Indian Army launched Agnipath scheme. In fact, the Indian Defence launched the Agnipath scheme under the recruitment reforms. I'm going to do a lot of reading so that I don't go wrong in my information. I'm going to do a lot of reading, so excuse me on that, but I will give you the correct information. Now, why are we talking this is because, A, it is relevant to you, because end of the day, it is your army that is changing or is reforming its process of recruitment. Secondly, it concerns every citizen of India, because tomorrow our children would possibly want to go to army and should go to army, and this may affect their lives. That is point number 2. Point number 3 is, I believe, that there are certain pros and there are certain cons in every government policy that they take, and that pros and cons should be something that should be that the normal citizen like you and me should be mindful of. These are the reasons why I wanted to discuss this topic. So let's get right into the topic this time. Okay, so under the new scheme, like I told you before, 45 to 50,000 people are going to be recruited under the new schemes. Okay, now the thing is, 45 to 50,000 people will be recruited, all right, very good. Okay, they will be recruited from the age group of 17 and a half years to 21 years of age. So they will be almost recruited before 18. So most of them will be adolescents. They will be in their teens when they are recruited. And they will be part of the scheme till their 21 years. And these people will be called as Agniveers. You know what is one good thing about this government? This government know everything. They have a brand name. Agniveer, Agnipath, Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Everything has a good brand name. Anyway, let us go further. So they will be called Agniveer. And these young kids will be part of the 13 lakh strong army of India for this 4 years. Now, it is not necessary that these people will continue. This scheme is only for 4 years, 6 months of training and 3.5 years of deployment. Okay, it is not necessary they will continue after 4 years. They may be asked to recruit. They may be asked to go back home. Now, the thing is, only 25% of these people will be taken permanently in the army for 15 years. Only 25% of the people. Rest will be asked to go back. Okay, this is the story. This is broadly what you understand. Now, there is good payment. There is a good payment scheme for these people. The payment scheme is as follows. During the period, they will start with a salary of 30,000 rupees along with additional benefits which will go up to 40,000 rupees by the end of 4 years service. 30,000 say it will start, 40,000 it will end by the end of 4 years service. Now, 30% of their salary will be set aside under the Seva Nidhi program. Here also brand name. Seva Nidhi program. 30% will be set, which means the government will contribute equal amount every month and it will also accrue interest. That means after 4 years, each of these people will get 11.71 lakh rupees lump sum. Okay, and it will be tax free. So they don't have to pay taxes. So pura ka pura 11.71 lakh rupees is theirs. Okay, so this is good. Salaries are good. 30 to 40,000 people recruited immediately and each of them getting 11 lakh rupees, which is a fairly decent amount for them to start their careers. Okay, na? Broadly, I took you through the scheme. Okay, they also get, let me tell you some few more things. They will also get 48 lakhs life insurance for 4 years. They will also get that. And like I told you, only 25% of this people will be recruited back in the army. Otherwise, after 4 years, they will be asked to go. And the people who are recruited will be recruited for a period, an extension period of 15 years, which means 4 years and 15 years. So their total service will be 19 years. This is what the scheme is. Now, a lot of veterans, a lot of top army officers, naval officers have been talking about this. Some say good things about it, some say bad things about it. So before I giving you my view, let me talk about views of top officers, okay, and what they feel. Lieutenant General Tej Sapru, former GOC in Western Command, said that coming from a Gorkha background, he felt that the new move could not be beneficial for the Nepal-India relationship. This is a very interesting point he made. You see, we recruit a lot of people from Nepal. Okay, we recruit a lot of people from Nepal. Nepalese people come into our army, work in the Gorkha regiment. Acha. Now, not only that, it gives employment to people of Nepal, which India provides. It also sends goodwill ambassadors, because when these people retire from the army, they go back to their villages in Nepal and they speak good about India. They become our ambassadors in those villages. So they become key opinion leaders. Army veterans are always seen as key opinion leaders in village. So when they go back to their villages, they talk good about India. And that's precisely why China couldn't make much of dent in Nepal, because these ambassadors would speak for us. So that's something that they suppose said that, if you're recruiting directly from the country, if you're recruiting directly from India, that is without including Nepal, what happens is Nepalis may not get the kind of opportunity that they used to get till now, and that may have an impact on Indo-Nepal relationship. Very valid point. Okay, so the second reaction came from former Director General Artillery, and that is Lieutenant General P.R. Shankar, retired, where he called this the scheme a kindergarten army. Okay, in his blog he said the annual intake into the army is approximately 65,000 soldiers per year, give or take 10%. It will increase to 1 to 1.5 lakh per year as per this model. This will result in a skewed intake and a recruitment model. Why? Because we do not have adequate numbers even in the current conditions from many parts of the country. So he said the recruitment will be very skewed. This was his point of view. Now, there was another point of view made by General B.S. Dhanua, who tweeted saying that two serious recommendations to the just announced recruitment policy for the armed force. He gave suggestions. Suggestion number 1, he said, increase the service period of new recruits to a minimum of 7 years. That could be against the sheer policy of the scheme, is because the policy of the scheme is designed in such a way that the government has, or the army has, a large number of temporary force with it. So 4 years is what they said. He says, why don't you increase that 4 years to 7 years? What he also says is make the retention of those keen to serve longer for at least 50%. Matlab, I told you, 25% of these people will be made to retain and 75% will be asked to go out. But what General Dhanua suggests is, he says, make it not 25% but 50%. Retain 50%, let 50% go off and make that 4 years into 7 years. He is talking about extending it, while the idea, I think, that the Indian government mooted was to ensure that you have lesser period, more people working it, and there is constantly, the force is available for India. The force is all available for India, but you don't have to kind of retain it for a longer time. This is what I think the government of India thought of. Achha, another senior army officer, Major General Yash Moore, tweeted, stop looking at armed forces from an economic point of view. Military life and career can't be evaluated from money saved to the exchequer, looking to be difficult to implement schemes with negative connotations to all aspects. So General Moore said that, listen, what are you doing? When you are talking about army, when you are talking about defense force, please don't look at the exchequer, yeah? Don't look at money. You see how you can create the best of army. Okay, and this year, तुम ये पैसे वैसे के बारे में सोचा, कम टेम्पररी रिक्रूट करो, कम पेंशन बिल को कम करो, ये सब अगर तुम सोचा तो it will have a negative impact on the army. This is what General Moore said. So this is broadly what people said. Now, my point of view is, broadly speaking, I think it's not a bad idea. Now, there are two more things that one should talk about the scheme. Number one is, because of the scheme, the pension, the pressure on the pension bill for India, for these defense force personnel, will come down. 4 years mein, you are changing a large number of people. 45 to 50,000 people go on circulating in 4 years. So it comes down. Also the fact that permanent versus temporary. So you will have a good temporary force that goes on circulating, and you have a permanent force also. So the temporary force becomes larger and larger through the scheme. So that's the advantages of the scheme as far as management is concerned. That's what the defense force felt. Number two is, you see, this force is going to increase. These 45,000 people who will go out after the 4 years, they are still going to be there in India. So whenever we need force, you have a trained bunch of people which you can always recall into the army. So from an army perspective, from the manpower perspective, it's a good idea. It's a good thought. But then look at it from another perspective. You are giving these young recruits 11.7 lakh. When they move out, you're paying them 30 to 40,000 rupees, giving them 11.7 lakhs. 11.7 lakhs at the age of 21 is a fairly decent amount to venture into the world. Now, if they manage to start something on their own, manage to do something on their own, very good. But if they are not, then in a couple of years, the 11.7 lakhs will go away and they will be unemployed. What do you do with 40,000 or 30,000 people every year coming into the Indian job markets, unemployed youth who are only trained to combat, who are trained army men. What do you do with them? Where do they get jobs? And if they don't get jobs, which we are seeing currently because unemployment is on the rise, if these people don't get job, what are the other options that they would want to choose? They're trained army men. Remember, they're trained army men. What will they do? That's a question that the government needs to figure out. That's a very important question that the government needs to figure out. So this is broadly what it is. And I would request you, as usual, please subscribe to us. Please log on to www.hwnews.in. Subscribe to one of our packages. Help us run our channel. Until I see you next time. Namaskar.